Hi, welcome to my podcast.
I have corn stuck in my teeth.
Oh, good. Okay, welcome back to Swine Before Pearls.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's your boy Trent,
It's your boy Joel.
and today we're going to cover one of the greatest experiences mankind has ever invented.
It's another one of those episodes of In the Field, baby.
Not just in the field, pigs in the field. You can't forget the pigs part. Otherwise, we'll be ripping off another YouTube show, which we stole the name from, that nobody would know.
And we hate them.
We hate them. No, we like that show.
Which one?
In the Field.
I thought we were talking about pearls, swine before pearls.
Oh yeah. Oh, did you see my text with the new show that rivals us?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so it's called Swines Together.
No.
Okay. And literally the description is almost the exact same as ours. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Your hands are shaking. This isn't good.
They're taking over. They're taking over our show.
Well, guys,
Okay,
we had a good run. We didn't get to sell you any crappy merch.
Here's the title, or here's the description for it. Join Shanaria and Caroline, two uncultured swines trying to culture themselves through literature. Episode topics will range from deep dive discussions of specific books to high-level discourse on genres and literary trends. Suggestions welcome.
High-level discourse.
High-level discourse.
I don't think we're on the same wavelength.
That's true. They're a one-episode wonder, though. They released an episode on October 25th. So
okay, so there's still some time.
Yeah.
Shania, Caroline, come on the podcast. Let's talk about
hop in. We'll talk about literature.
Come to a basement in Colorado.
Yeah.
We're having great weather over here. It's very
arch
dry.
rivals, Swines Together, the podcast, the one-episode podcast.
Yeah. You know what though? It's good that we have like a female counterpart.
Yeah.
You know, I think this has been a 2 testosterone filled podcast. So it's good that there's some women out there doing what we can't do well.
Oh, you know what we need is another podcast with 2 white guys.
Yeah.
There's none of those.
2 white guys. You care about our opinions. All right.
All right. So this time for In the Field, we went and played bingo.
So I have a quick little story.
Yeah.
There was a farmer that I met this one time. And he had this dog.
Oh, really?
And his dog was named Bingo.
Oh, yeah.
And anytime they wanted to call for bingo, they would say B-I-N-G-O, B-I-N-G-O.
Oh, wow.
And guess what?
What?
Bingo is his name-o.
Bingo was his name.
Bingo, baby.
That is so crazy.
That's wild.
Wow. I think I heard a song about that, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was ripping it off from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it, a rap song? Because mine was.
You had a bingo rap song?
Yeah, a little bingo rap song.
How'd it go?
There once was a farmer had a dog, and his name was Bingo. B-I-N-G-O. Go away, Joel.
Oh, yeah. So bingo, this was definitely, I think at this point for a lot of these in the fields, like we pull a lot of this stuff out of our butt. And I think that makes it 10 times better for what we do because I feel like at least with our theater episode, we were coming in with like, hey, we can buy tickets and show up to this place and be kind of led through what we're supposed to do. And we kind of just showed up to this really sketchy, like, strip mall in the middle of Aurora, Colorado, which is like kind of a little bit of a seedy place. And like, we're just like, let's play bingo.
Yeah. It was, which, you say it was impromptu, like, and like earlier on, we promised we know what we're doing, but the problem is we're pretty bad at planning.
We're really bad at planning.
So bingo was like plan C.
Yeah.
And we were just like, okay, fine, let's go play bingo.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go play bingo. Expectations couldn't even be set. Like I didn't even think like going and playing bingo was something you could quantify. So I guess to preface, I have no experience playing. I had been aware of like the general concept of what bingo was through like TV and movies, and maybe I had played like some like versions of it where it's like 8 squares and it's like put your thing down and it's a bingo. Like
Yeah.
it was really interesting because it was something I knew about but had like actually no reference to. So
Yeah.
I was coming into this whole thing like pretty much a complete beginner. Like
I mean, I had played bingo in school, right?
yeah.
And it was very much like the put your token on the thing.
Yeah.
And then I hosted a bingo rave.
What?
It wasn't a real rave, obviously.
It was a bingo rave.
Yeah. So when I was the staff supervisor for the camp, right?
Yeah.
We had to come up with activities every night. So one night we decided, let's do a bingo rave, because those are actual things. Is like bingo raves.
Bingo raves.
But the thing is, it wasn't an actual rave because it was a nice Christian camp, you know. So it was just like we put on some crazy lights and threw on some EDM and called it a bingo rave.
I think that's close enough, honestly.
It was close enough.
Like you don't need people huffing nitrous at your
Yeah.
bingo rave.
And but people got really into it, mostly because we offered prizes.
Oh,
Prizes will do you in.
hey, prizes will get you in the door. You know, like that'll get you sitting there. And I mean, for our experience, I didn't even think about the fact that there was money involved. Of like,
Oh, I was aware.
I didn't even think about it.
Oh, really?
Like I didn't even think about like we're going to this place and we're going to spend money so we can potentially make a lot more money. Like that was never a factor. I was like, oh, we're just gonna play bingo and like maybe grandma's gonna get a stuffed animal and like that's it.
That's the prize.
That's the prize. You get
Man, I would have killed you if you got the stuffy animal.
you get the giant elephant, grandma. Like there you go. And
But we went in and we felt super out of our element though,
dude, yes.
because I'm like, I've played bingo before, right?
Yeah.
And then they hand me these 2 stacks of bingo cards.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, grab the tablet.
Well, and even before that, like we showed up so early. We showed up
did.
an hour early to this bingo place. Like we walked in, like the doors were open, nobody was there, and there was just like the lady behind the concession stand, and there was just like some random dude who's like got like one eye closed, like he's kind of half drunk,
he was
and
missing
he's like
some teeth.
missing some teeth, and he's like, "You guys playing bingo?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna play some bingo." We're like, "Oh, bingo's so much fun," and we're just kind of like, and I'm like, "What time does this start?" And we didn't even know, like, we knew when the actual place like opened. We didn't know when any of the actual events were going. So we're like looking at the list, and it's like, okay, 7:30. So we decided to go get some Chick-fil-A. You know, which was pretty nice. I had my 3 cups of coffee, as I normally do on these In the Field
Pretty
episodes,
classic.
because I got to be absolutely wired to do any of this stuff. And yeah, it was so confusing, dude. Like, I'm usually a pretty confident guy, but when we went in there and they're like, okay, $60 up front, you get 3 of these blue ones, right? And then you get 4 of these, and there's your tablet. Do you know how to run your tablet? And I'm like, and I felt like such a boomer
Yeah.
because I had this like 65-year-old bingo hall manager that was like, "Don't you know how to run your tablet?" And it's like, no, no, I don't.
Yeah, it was super weird. We're walking in.
It's got
and
like Android software.
We're like, oh, like, what do we do? Like, I had this very real fear popping up of like, am I too stupid for bingo?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like one of those things where it's like my anxiety was starting to rise, and I was like, I wonder if they're gonna kick us out because we don't know what we're doing. Like they're gonna be like, wait a minute, you guys don't know anything about bingo. Get out of here.
Luckily there was Bobby though.
Dude,
Bobby was the nicest lady.
Bobby was our guardian angel who I believe was ordained to be there. So we walk out into this big hall, like this bingo hall, and this bingo hall has not been updated since 1985.
No, that's not true. The posters are clearly from the early 2000s.
Early 2000 posters, 1985 murals and interior. And it was like it was like it was like stepping into a time machine. It was just like everything was just like the way it's always been, and you could tell like nothing has been moved by like besides the tablets, nothing has been updated. Like nobody wants anything to change. And we walked in and there was Bobby, and she was just this sweet older lady who took one good look at us, and she said, "You guys have no idea what you're doing."
Yeah. So she took us under her wing, and she showed us how to operate our tablets.
Dad, dude, I just called you dad.
What?
Don't read into that. But that was trippy to have, like, I assume probably a 70-year-old woman teaching me how to use a tablet. Like she's like, okay, so what kind of emblem do you want? And I'm like, I don't know, like the blue dot. And she's like, that's boring. You don't want the doggy or the rubber ducky? And I'm like, I guess I'll take the rubber ducky then. And she's like, well, if you got a rubber ducky, you'll make the background look like an ocean. So here's how you do the blue background. And I'm like, how is this gonna help me play bingo? And then it turns out you just tap the screen. You just keep tapping the screen.
Yeah, that's all there is to it.
You don't have to touch anything. You don't have to say anything up. It's really easy.
And so basically, to describe the setup, there's a tablet. And on the tablet, all you do is press a button and it'll run the bingo for you. Yeah. But then you have physical copies of bingo that you're also running at the same time, that you use these little dobbits.
The Bingo Bright, we bought the dobbits from a vending machine. I thought these were to eat when I first walked.
You thought they were to eat? You just saw these old ladies with a bag full of dobbits, and you were like, "It's food." She came to bring a bunch of snacks.
I thought it was like a cool juice drink. I thought they were like, oh man, this gets intense, and you need your old lady juice drink, and it's some like really off brand that you can only find in Aurora. And I like legitimately like it looks like one of those like yogurt like Steven, doesn't this look like a Danimal? You guys know what a Danimal is? It sounds like a bad word, but it's like a yogurt.
Hi, welcome to the bowling alley. Do you want to try our special drink that we all carry in large bags? Large bags full of Danimals?
I should have just drank this. Could you imagine if I was sitting there, Bobby's like, Joel, how's bingo going? And I turned and my teeth saw purple.
You would do that. That reminds me of the time you snorted Crystal Light, and I see you the next morning, and your chest is just covered with blood.
They're like calling EMTs, and I'm like, what's wrong? I want to play bingo. They're like, sir, you have lead poison.
We're sitting there, and Joel, no joke, Googles how to win at bingo. How do you win at bingo? They call the right letters.
Like I said, I didn't know. They were like, okay, so we're playing 4-round blackout, and I'm like, what's blackout? And I was too scared to ask, so I Googled it, and it means I realized that, and this is why I love bingo. There's not a lot that you have to do besides mark crap and call it out. Like, I thought there was like strategies, like, well, if you get 5 across and 5 this way, then you get this special thing, which there was some of that, but we didn't need to like concern ourselves with that.
We were just there to,
like, there was people, they were like vendors walking around, and they're like, okay, you want to join the double or nothing horse run for $20? And it's like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing. So yeah, Bobby was great. Helped me out a lot. Trent helped me out a lot. The nice Vietnamese lady next to me, she was, oh my gosh, what a G. Okay, this lady shows up and she's like, oh, it's your first time, and it's like, yeah, and she's just like, boom, 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 and then she lays out like 10 pages for one round, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's probably like $500 worth. Like, this lady's serious.
Well, yeah, it was kind of crazy because, like, it took all of my attention just to focus on that one little like square of bingo I had.
Yeah.
And she just had like a table full of bingo cards ready
Boom, boom,
ready
boom,
to
boom,
go.
boom, boom.
She was ready to win.
Dude, and that's kind of when I realized I'm like, oh, people come here like seriously. Like I guess I didn't like understand that or realize that it's like people are here to make money. Like, and honestly, like we had pretty good chances because it wasn't like that crowded. Like,
No, we came on the perfect night. Monday night, anybody trying to go to the bingo,
Yeah.
Monday night's the right night to go. Nobody's there.
Monday night. And if you just have like a big dopey smile, these old ladies, they love it. You know, they
Yeah.
just love to see two dumb looking white dudes walk in and have no idea what they're doing, get their hand held through the entire thing. It's great. And then we started playing bingo.
Yep.
And-
Which I got overwhelmed right at the beginning
Yeah.
because they're calling things out. And I thought I saw a number that wasn't there. And I'd kind of forgotten how the bingo callouts work. So I marked something wrong. And suddenly it was like, oh no, my whole world's thrown into chaos. Like, I'm not going to be good at bingo.
Oh no, if I get a bingo, I can't call it because they'll know I cheated. I had a couple of those where I've like mismarked something, but then I found out if you kind of wait long enough, it probably comes
It'll
back
probably
at a
pop
different
back.
time. But
Yeah.
But that was when, and I wasn't expecting this, but by the second round, everything kind of like took shape where I was like, hey, there's not a lot of people here. Hey, we have like a decent amount of cards between the two of us that we're playing. And then it like I think once my brain clicked that it was like, hey, you're not just here to like look around and take notes. Like you can actually win. Then like my body started getting into it where I'm just like doing the bingo and then I'm watching the numbers come in and then all of a sudden like you notice like your squares starting to fill up and then you got your little lizard brain that's like, oh yeah, and then you're just like your heart just starts getting so big it could pound out of your chest and you're like looking around and I'm looking over at Trent. It's like he's only got 3 to go. I've got 2. And I'm like, come on, H57. And I'm like looking at him. I'm like, I'm going to kill Trent with my bare hands if he gets this next one. And it's like, he didn't get it. I'm still in the lead. And then you hear, bingo. And then it just like,
oh, it's all over.
the come down. And you're just sitting there like exhausted.
And we talked to Bobby about it, and she was like, "Yeah, every time I get close, it feels like the thrill of the hunt."
Yeah, Bobby relayed this to fishing. She's like, "You ever go fishing?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "You know when you got it on the line and you're starting to reel it in, and you can just feel it getting closer and closer." And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's bingo," and I'm like, "Damn, Bobby."
Yeah. And I think the big difference maker is just how much you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're like, I had imagined we go to bingo, they hand you an individual card, and they say, B7, 7 on the B. And then you say, okay, I'm going to tap my marker on the B7.
And then you just wait.
Yeah, and then you just keep waiting. But no, it's like B7. And then all of this on your mind goes, okay, I have to find all of the B7s on my 4 squares as quickly as possible. Oh!
Well, like not only that, but then they have the next one that's going to get called up next on the TV. So I'm already like 2 steps ahead and I'm like, all right, I already got all my B7s marked. Here comes H59. And it was like,
Joel, the letters are the letters of bingo. So H is not one of the letters.
here comes Z84.
Oh, good.
For Zongo.
I think one of my favorite things though was the poor lady reading off the letters. She was so unenthused.
Oh, honey.
It was so hilarious because she just be in this monotone voice, like you could tell she didn't want to be there. And
She looked about our age too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, there's somebody our age here. Oh no, she's just reading these off, and she'd say like B7, 7 on the B.
I was getting such a kick out of that. I was like, what, where do you find a job like this? Like, no, like I respect the hustle. Whatever you do, do it to your best ability. but where do you like, yeah, so we've got bingo callers wanted. And you're just like, I 50 on the eye. And it's like, oh, sweetheart, it's a long night, isn't it?
It was so great just like listening to her be like constantly unenthused because she's like a central aspect of the experience.
Yeah.
Like when you have an unenthused like person at the front desk when you like go to the bowling alley or whatever, you're like, okay, like that person's unenthused. But to have that person in your ear for like an hour straight, unenthusiastically reading letters is probably one of the funniest things.
And it's like, do we have a double or doubler? No, okay, we're gonna keep on going. And then you're just like shaking, like, what's the next number, Lee?
Yeah. So.
Oh, that was, and dude, yeah, man, that was just part of the whole environment of just like, this is a different place. And it was expensive. Let me just say, it's a good time to do with friends, but in terms of like things you can do with your money, it's expensive.
We dropped $42 to hop in.
We dropped $42. That's not cheap. But I mean, it was pretty engaging. Like it was pretty engaging. And I don't know, it just felt like this portion of society that you would never get to see if you were anywhere else. You know, if you were out with your friends at Topgolf, you would not be seeing the like absolute hardcore veteran bingo players like Bobby, who's like, all right, I've got a pact with her, and her. And she's like teaching Trent and I about like life lessons about sharing wealth. She was like, do you guys have a pact if you win? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, if one of you wins, you guys should decide to split it to save your friendship because I've lost friendships this way. And I'm like, this is insane. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is legit gambling. And
yeah. Well, so we decided not to completely split our earnings, but we decided to at least cover each other's costs.
Cover each other's costs. And like, man, that $2,000 pot.
That would have been the big time.
And the crazy thing was that was the last one, and the chick who won it was like behind us, and I feel like she did like it was very nonchalant.
Dude, nobody cared. Like if I won bingo, I would have popped the heck off.
Dude, I would have been screaming. I was like, okay, if you get a bingo, don't be like, bingo! Bingo! Woo!
I got a bingo!
Like you get on top of the table and you're like, suck it! This is my first time. How many times have you been here, Grandma?
No, none of them cared. They were just like,
yeah,
bingo.
They're like,
you were like, you took everything from me.
Well, it was like bingo, and it was over, and everybody was just like trashing their stuff and like filing out. There was no, hey, good to see you. How are you doing? Like, oh, all this stuff. It was like, all right, game's over. Let's go. And we were out of there in a minute. Like there was no lingering. It's like, it's over, get out. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is how it goes. That was crazy. That was crazy.
Bingo is serious time.
It was serious times.
You could tell it was like a proper community too, because everyone comes in, they're super friendly, and like there was lore of like who's consistent winners.
Yeah, who's
what
lucky.
They do with their money.
Yeah, there's a lot of that like, okay, I'm using my lucky colors. I'm doing this today. I'm, all this superstition that was around it that was like, wow, this is like a culture in itself of bingo. And I have to say, like, so something I was thinking about. So, I mean, I can understand why, like, you get a pretty good rush from bingo. Like the dopamine.
Oh, I think we both did.
The dopamine fires off, and it fires off in a different way because there's a lot of science behind like reward and action and how that works and stuff. And I think bingo straddles the line so perfectly because you could sit at a slot machine and get that dopamine of like, oh, I get to watch the colors and the lights, and sometimes I'm close and sometimes I'm not, and that's why I'm addicted to it, right? But with bingo, I think there's so much more of a like interaction element that surpasses that makes it even more addictive. Where it's not just, oh, I'm just like, if we were just touching the screen mindlessly for the entire time and not as engaged, I think we'd feel a little bit of it. But when you're doing all that stuff and that rush starts to build, I just think I think it's a different type of like dopamine
Yeah.
release for gambling.
Well, I've realized it's like the perfect amount to do,
Yeah.
right? Because if it was just a little more engaging, it would be like kind of overstimulating,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, it was
But
pretty overstimulating as it was.
I mean they're calling things, and like it's a pretty simple task to just
yeah.
search your card, find the thing,
Yeah.
prep or mark
Monkey
your
stuff.
card.
Yeah.
Yeah, monkey stuff. But it's got just enough brain engagement,
Yeah.
and then there's a reward.
Yeah.
And it's like I talked about with just like the simple bingo earlier. Like people went wild for the rewards when I did it with the camp staff.
Yeah.
But we were just giving out like $3 like gift cards to the shop essentially.
Yeah.
Right? And people were going wild. They won the cards and they were like, "Yes! This is the best day of my
Yeah.
life." But you know, you throw some real money behind
You
that.
throw $2,000 in there.
And you're doing something that is like peaceful,
Yeah.
but with like actual stakes.
Yeah. And I think the other crazy thing too, it's funny that like both our in the field episodes kind of go on the lines of gambling, because we were in Cripple Creek, which is this gambling town. And then we have this bingo hall, which is in a sense gambling too.
Hi, welcome to the Gambling
Hi.
Addicts podcast.
Hi.
We have a crippling addiction to gambling.
Yeah, that's my problem. I like looking at colors and spending my money. But no, like I felt like in comparison, Cripple Creek was like very artificial, like gambling place, and like the vibe was like so bad, especially when you walked onto like the casino floor. It was just so it wasn't like this community, and it was sad. And I think bingo felt a little bit less sad because it's like these ladies, this is their thing. Like this is where they get to interact with each other and commune, and like it's a little bit more than just winning the prize. It's having this place down the street that you can go to, and it's happy. It's kind of like your local bar, in that same way. It's like everyone knows your name, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I can see that being a real draw for someone who's like older and look like alone and searching out community.
Yeah, if I had like a very empty life,
Yeah.
like I think I would enjoy like going to bingo.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
which like I enjoyed going to bingo anyway.
Yeah.
So
it was a great time, and
it's a great way to fill your time, I think.
it's a great way to fill your time, and I think it would be a fun thing to do with like maybe like 4 or 5 people. Like
Yeah.
if you could get more people in on it, and like chill people who aren't like, I'm coming here to win, but people who like want to talk with other people and like figure out how to do it, and like kind of fun beginner stuff.
The perfect boys' night.
The perfect boys' night, honestly. But yeah, I think the only thing, I think kind of stemming on that same line though, is like talking about Cripple Creek and like how sad that was and how like happier bingo was. I think there's still a little bit of like, there's a little bit of sad too in there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think gambling's always a little tough to like come in as an outsider and see,
Yeah.
because it is like pretty like mind numbing. You're just like throwing a bunch of money hoping to get money back.
Yeah.
But I will say, definitely a million times better than casinos.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like I'm having some time in like recovery stuff into, and like seeing different corners of like addictions and how people like go through their life. And it's like I get it. And it's like I like that Bobby has her bingo night to go to.
Yeah,
but I also
it seemed like a healthy thing.
yeah, but it's like I also hope she has other things that she's doing too.
Yeah.
It was kind of that thing that I kind of like wished on everybody, that it's like I hope because I get it, like the dopamine and the feeling of the hunt when you're on the bingo trail is pretty crazy. It's a pretty crazy rush that you get. But for part of it is like I hope that some of the people there, if that's all they're seeking out in life, then maybe they cut back a little bit and find some other stuff too. Because no, that would make me just as happy.
Joel, you have to stop. You've been playing bingo for 6 days
I'm
straight.
I'm a bingo addict. I bet there are. I was actually looking into bingo addiction after that a
Oh,
little
wow.
bit and seeing, and there are people who are like legitimately, and you can imagine why, but like addicted to bingo. Um but I think like, we didn't get ID'd to play
Oh,
or
that's
anything
true.
like that. Like
Oh, there
there's
was a pretty young girl there too.
yeah.
Like she might have been over 18.
Yeah, but I think it's because bingo's like we were playing for like charities and stuff. Like
Oh,
there was
really?
some
I didn't know.
charity, yeah, for the different sets. It's like some sort of charity element or something like that that's in there, and I think there's some sort of stipulation that makes it not as like regulatory as like being on a casino floor and stuff like that, which also probably made it a lot more feel more like kind of low key and a little
Yeah.
more like
Well, it
relaxed.
it skirts the line too, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a game technically.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I played bingo in school, and like there was no real gambling connotation.
Yeah.
Um, but it definitely is gambling. Um,
Yeah.
but there, I mean, we didn't win anything, but our time was still rewarded. So there
Yeah.
is that aspect.
Yeah. And I think if we kept going, like we'd start getting a little bit more frustrated, I think, if we weren't winning stuff, but for like a one-off experience, it was like I didn't go in there expecting to have any money. So,
No,
but
but we
boy,
got close.
boy, yeah,
Yeah,
when
that last round, that $2,000 round,
dude,
I was one square away.
dude, I was like, if we win this, this could actually change everything.
Yeah, like I could have gone home and like I could have like severely paid down my car payment.
Yeah. I was like, man, if we make this money, like this is actually like a huge advantage to
Yeah.
life.
Which Bobby gave us the breakdown for how to win,
Yeah.
right? Because she said if you're gonna go on a regular basis, um, don't go every week.
Yeah.
Skip a week,
Yeah.
save your money,
Yeah.
and buy double the cards on the tablets.
Yeah.
You don't really need to buy the um like the hand cards, the ones that you punch by hand. Those are more just to keep you busy.
Yeah.
But you want to buy a 2-pack of the tablet cards. Um and yeah, that was something else I realized. Like I remember talking to Joel and I was like, "Man, it seems like my tablet always does better than like the cards that I'm
Yeah.
punching in by hand." But that's because the tablet is running like 64
Cards.
cards at the same time,
Yeah.
which is weird.
It's kind of crazy. I
Yeah.
I think it had 64 total in
Okay.
it, but yeah, it's like running way more cards than you can handle, which felt kind of cheap. Like it felt like it's like, wow, this is
Yeah,
doing all the work for me. And if I went off this, but I
it's
mean,
not real.
it's not real.
But here's what I think it is, right? Because I think these bingo people are pretty smart.
Yeah.
Where like if everybody has 64 cards, they might as well just have one card, right?
Yeah.
But if everybody has 64 cards and you need people to buy more, then suddenly that's a lot more lucrative because you can really hound up those prices.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of the deal is like, yeah, you could technically play with just one,
Mm-hmm.
but you can buy more and more and really up your chances.
Up your chances.
Which
Yeah.
I think we were really at a disadvantage because we bought the minimum number.
Yeah. But that
Not
was
that we had a zero chance.
but that was the nice thing was I was like, yeah, we don't have as good as a chance as Sue next to us who has 15 cards, but like we're doing pretty good. Like we still have a pretty good chance regardless. And that always makes it fun that you still have a fox on the hunt,
Yeah,
even though
and we never felt out of the game.
no, it was good. So yeah, I would I would, yeah, that was a very pleasant experience. Especially for like where we were, like what part of town we were,
Yeah.
like there had just been like a school shooting in that area, and it's just like kind of a bad area of town, and like it never deters you from doing stuff, but it's also that at the same time you're just like, oh, like we'll see what happens. Like this could be a little bit wild at some points, and everyone was just so great, and I don't know, it made me leave with a lot of fun. Also, Trent almost like hit somebody with his car on the way
We
out.
didn't have to tell anybody
Oh,
that.
it's part of the experience.
But my
though.
my brain was like actually shutting down.
I could
towards the
see
end.
that.
Like I needed like a hard reset.
I could see that. Like you were just like kind of out of it, and I'm like Trent, and you're
Yeah.
like, what?
It took so much focus though, because like honestly, the whole time I was so afraid that like I would lose or that I would like forget to mark something and then like lose out on a bunch of money.
Oh man.
So like I used all of my brain capacity.
Could you imagine like just making these great relationships with these people in this bingo hall, and then just like getting T-boned on the way out,
Oh,
just
God.
like fighting in the parking lot with this nice lady that just helped you?
Oh no.
No, it all worked out. It all worked out great. So Trent's a very competent and safe driver.
Yeah. It's just my brain shut down. It happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes your brain doesn't work.
Sometimes it does. Yeah. Well, we had a lot of lizard brain exercise that day, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say it was a really good time.
We love bingo.
Yeah. So how would you overall like rate your experience?
I would say it was definitely worth my time.
Yeah.
Not worth the money though.
Mm,
That was brutal on the wallet.
yeah.
Um, I think if I had more of a propensity to gamble, like I'd be all about it.
Yeah.
But as it stands, like I like any money that I put in, I see as lost. Right?
Yeah.
Any money I would have made, I would have said great. But that money's lost.
Yeah.
That $40 can't get it back.
Yeah.
And so like as a stingy guy, that's not an experience I want to replicate.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Dingy.
Stingy. Yeah. What was your thoughts?
Well, I think I really like the aesthetics of it.
Oh yeah.
I think these in the field episodes are great because you really get an aesthetic of where you are in that environment. Just being in like this time machine 80s pool hall with a bunch of these elderly ladies who were just super sweet. Like it really made everything for me.
It was a pure time capsule. Really
Yeah. I really liked the dopamine rush. Like I liked how excited I was because it was like, oh man, this feels really good. But I kind of like you, I didn't really care to like, I don't know. I've never really been like super big on gambling or anything. And so I was kind of like, that was a really good time, but like I definitely lost money on that. And it's not like I'm in a position where I'm just throwing money around willy nilly. So that wasn't as great, but I don't know. I really like the aesthetics of it. And I think that in itself, I don't know. I think it's it's kind of like I said last episode, but it's like a piece of Americana that you're really not gonna get anywhere else. And it kind of reminded me of like living back in China when I was growing up in China, because there was all these older people that would get around on the street and they'd play this game called mahjong, which is like Chinese chess pretty much. And it's just all these like maybe 20 older people, and they bring all their own pieces and stuff, and they just sit on like Saturdays and Sundays on the street and they play this game, and it's a community event. You know, they're gambling and stuff, but it's like a community event. And
well, older folks are really great for in the field episodes because they're always like super interested to talk to.
oh yeah.
Right? Like if we showed up and it was just like a bunch of young people, it'd be like nobody would care.
Yeah, I think that's crazy because I think and that's something we pointed out in the last episode, but you're right, like older people, I feel like they just don't care as much. Like they don't have any like of that ego that's like I'm not going to talk to you because I think I'm this person and I think I'm a really like important and you know, but instead it's like, no, it's like, come over here and let me show you how to use your iPad.
Yeah. And I think they just love to see us in their environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And being like interested and like, yeah, showing interest and being kind. And
yeah.
I think kindness like will get you a lot of places. It's a good passport to fitting into places where you don't feel like you belong. It's just a good smile and a willingness.
And the stereotype is that old people, like, bingo is an old people activity, which I think, like, we saw the truth of that.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like, yeah, it's something older people do, but I can see the
Yeah. And I mean, like, if I was old or when I'm old, and I can't walk around that good, and I can get this crazy rush from playing bingo and be all med out in my retirement home playing bingo. That doesn't sound too bad. Like keeps your brain pretty like active and stimulated and like props to Bobby. You know, like my grandma, like her brain kind of went to mush at the end and it's cool to see Bobby at kind of like the same age and having a very active brain by playing bingo. It's a game. You know, it keeps your synapses firing. And I think that's important.
Yeah. And yeah, it was still intellectually stimulating for us.
Yeah.
Which I have this vision now, Joel.
Okay.
So, you know,
Here
next
we go.
episode we say, okay, we're gonna play poker. And we'll be like, we're not that into gambling. And then next episode, it's another gambling activity. And we'll be like, oh, we're just moderate gamblers.
Just moderate.
And then before you know it, this will be the Gambling Addicts podcast. We'll be broke. Steven will be funding our addiction.
I can stop anytime I want. And then like I'm selling Trent's left kidney to buy a scratcher.
The next episode, we just play the lottery and spend all of our money on the lottery.
Next episode, we take a trip to Gamblers Anonymous. Trent drinks coffee and smokes a cigarette for the first time in a basement of a church.
We fall really down the rabbit hole as Swine before pearls.
Oh yeah, we do. But hey, as long as we're entertaining the viewers, you know, we're making that money back. So
yeah,
that $40 we spent, that will come back to us in time.
Yeah, it'll come back to us as the people. The people demand, give us more bingo. We want bingo. But we say no, we have new content. We have new horizons to explore.
We'll throw up
like gambling addiction.
Yeah, we'll throw up a poll. It's like how addicted to gambling should we get? Moderately.
The poll gets like I don't know what the word is, but like doxed.
Yeah.
And it's just like filled with people like get crazy addicted to gambling.
I think that would work out pretty well for us. I think we need to get like married first, so we have like stakes that we can lose.
Married to each other? That's pretty forward of you, Joel.
No, I meant generally married, but I mean that'd be a great in the field episode too. A civil union with Joel and Trent.
Perfect. Oh, we need to marry rich women.
Watch us get eloped at a taco truck. Watch us try to adopt a baby from Africa together.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Oh man.
Well,
so speed dating next.
Speed dating next. We won't tell you what we're gonna do next because we never know. Because planning is not part of the Swine Before Pearls.
Did you just say
agenda.
Slime Before Pearls?
Slime Before Pearls. All right.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to talk about what's coming up next?
Yeah, let's talk about what's coming up next.
Okay. So, next up, we have our Christmas special. It's a little early, but that's when the movie happens. So, we're going to cover, what's it called?
It's A Wonderful Life, my guy.
That's what it's called.
It is, in fact, A Wonderful Life.
And then we have our album,
sober.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
And then we have the book, The Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Which notably is not written by Marcel Proust, which makes it a 10 out of 10 in my book.
Yeah, it's already a pretty good book. I'm not going to burn it once I'm done with it.
Yeah. It's a great time.
We should have a good book burning at some point.
A good book burning. I think that would get us considered fascists, Joel.
Nah, we just don't like Marcel. Everyone else is cool.
Oh, so are we just burning Marcel?
Yeah,
Are we
we're-
gonna go to the library, check out the copies of the different parts of In Search of Lost Time, and just burn those?
Oh, they'll let us have it. Nobody's checking those out. There's like some like little scrawny hipster kid like, hey, I was gonna read that. And it's like, how old are you? 20? You have to be 30 to read this. Shut up, kid. Go read Hungry Hippos, the novel.
Is that going to be our entire content? Is just roasting Marcel?
No, we've got other stuff. We talked about the other podcast with the ladies.
Oh yeah, and then we're gonna do In the Field again.
That's who we should get married to. The other podcast.
Oh wow,
We can have a mega podcast.
Hey, come through.
Yo.
Swine. What is that?
If you like
Swine
guys,
together?
Swines together, swine on swine. Look, if you like guys who, you know, are cool, are good sober boys, live in RVs, grow really terrible mustaches.
Wait a minute, that's just you.
You know it.
Wait, are you trying to pick up both of the Swines together girls?
Yeah.
They are in their mid-20s, so it'd be age appropriate.
How do you know they're in their mid-20s?
Because I listened to their podcast, like 20 minutes of it.
Oh, was it good?
Yes, girls, it was great. I loved your podcast, girls.
It was amazing. So pull up.
Come through.
Come
Join
through.
our podcast. Swine before pearls together.
I got tea and cookies in my RV in the middle of a field. If you really care about your content, you'll do your own In the Field episode and meet the manic hobo that lives out in a field.
Perfect.
And his friend Trent.
Well, you've pitched us so
the
well,
delightful
Joel.
imp.
There's no chance that they don't show up right in your yard.
Dude. They'll be, I think they will.
You think so?
Yeah.
I actually kind of wonder if maybe they saw our podcast and got intimidated. They're like, dang it, somebody else did the same thing.
Hey.
And
You know what? Listen here, swine before swines, or whatever your names are. Don't be intimidated by the competition, okay? Capitalism, right? Capitalism breeds innovation, okay? That's all we're doing here is we're innovating on each other. We're basically Amazon, and you're like Napster, you know?
Napster.
I don't know, eBay. But we're innovating together. Don't be scared.
Napster is a music piracy service from the early 2000s.
Anyway, I'm looking for a wife to take to bingo, so pull up.
Come through Caroline and Shaniqua.
Oh, Caroline.
Caroline, you.
Dude. That song's about her.
That's about her?
It's about her. About the podcast lady.
Are we going to break up with her and get really sad?
Dude, that makes some really good content.
Hey, let's go.
Do it for the views.
Come on the podcast, Caroline. We need you for the views.
Come on. We're going to play a real life Squid Game with just you and your friend, and we get to judge it.
You know what? I've been thinking, you know how that Mr. Beast did the real life Squid Game?
Yeah.
I've been thinking, what if there was just a really low budget Mr. Beast where it's
like here's $10.
No, you stay in this pool of money, and if you stay in the longest, you'll get $1 and maybe a coupon for Wendy's.
Here's a pop socket. You can put it on the back of your phone.
I think that would be really entertaining. Although it'd be like a pretty short-lived gimmick because I think people would get tired of it.
That's all short-lived gimmicks. Let's milk it while we can.
That's true. Don't steal our ideas, especially Swines together. Caroline, you're only allowed to come on our podcast.
Yeah.
Caroline and Shaniqua.
Was that her name?
It's like
all right.
I can't pronounce it.
All righty. Whatever. That's it. I'm Joel. I'm Trent. We love you.
We love all of you.
Get some good sleep.
Rest up.
Don't go to bed at 11 o'clock. That's stupid. Go to bed at 9. You're a grown man.
All right. Good night.
I love you.